Well, it's June 2016 and most of the seats are in the near side of the bus, as you can see. The rest won't take long to fit, and we have all the seats, and as you can see they're genuine 1930s maquette, probably irreplaceable now or only at great cost. So the inside's coming along very well, all the lights work. Sorry, I can't put them on at the moment. And we're fitting out the offside as well. One or two things to do, and then the seats will be going in that side and it'll look very complete. Right, we've now fitted the cab seat and the steering wheel, and the dashboard is in its almost correct place. One or two problems have arisen though, and cab ergonomics for drivers weren't brilliant, and this, I don't know whether you can show it, but the brake pedal, which is this, sticks a long way up and is difficult to lift your knee and leg onto it quickly. And the other thing is that the accelerator is in the centre, quite old-fashioned design, and this, given the position of the seat, means your foot is behind your knee and quite likely to induce cramp pretty rapidly. So it's going to be difficult to drive. However, the handbrake is well to hand, and the gear lever again is very handy, and fortunately the steering wheel is quite a high position and is quite will be quite good. So the problems are really about the acceleration and the brake, and we'll have to make them a bit more amenable for the driver to reach. The other problem is going to be actually getting into the cab because it's so high. We're using a small stool to get in, but of course the bus drivers didn't use that, and we're not really quite sure how the drivers got into these vehicles, given that I'm quite tall and my leg goes up here from the ground. So how did the drivers, and particularly the shorter ones, get up there? We haven't solved that yet. Well, the fairly major setback we've had concerns the engine, which you can see. It was built up about 10 years ago with advice from a fitter at the time. As you know, the fuel pump at the bottom, rebuilt, lift pump rebuilt, the oilways all cleared, and we started the engine for the first time in over 50 years, and it ran superbly. But that was dry, that is cold, and stopping the engine before it got too hot. We then decided to put water in and restarted, so the engine ran hot as it would do normally when the vehicle was running. But we had a problem immediately and had to abort this when water ran out between the heads and the block. This has been the block, and the water just ran out. And the water channels are here, here, here and here into the heads. So the heads have come off again, the head gaskets have been taken off, and you can see the problem which has developed, and which we were unaware of, since the fitter concerned is no longer involved. In that, corrosion of the waterways has taken place here and here, which are fitted with O-rings with the heads in position to give a seal. And this is a long-standing problem because Northern themselves have had this corrosion and fitted copper blocks which they've machined out to give a flush surface. While they've given a flush surface 60 years ago, they would not be watertight now, and so we've got to do something about these. There is corrosion here. Before we can fit and find new O-rings, probably taking these copper washers out and have these all machined out, and then to accept new O-rings or build them up in metal so that they're flush surface, or else you'll get leakage. What you can actually see as well, by the way, that this engine was extensively converted by Northern General from its original form, which was indirect injection with a swirl chamber in the edge of the head, to a much more modern design with direct injection straight into the cylinder with a bowl in the piston. You probably can't see it, but the piston, instead of having a flat top, has a bowl built in which gives the swirl to the mixture of diesel fuel and air, so that it's been considerably modernized. So that area of the engine is fine. It is water retention, and we need new head gaskets, and the advice at the time was to use plain copper, which we did, and these simply aren't adequate enough. We need a laminated head gasket with copper sheets with a filler material inside, and we're getting quotes now from gasket makers to have these. AEC engines tended to have head problems and head gasket problems, so we reckon, a thicker gasket to compress with correct O-rings to go here, which aren't within the gasket. The gaskets go around them, and so they are separate, and they've got to be treated separately. So we've got a bit of work to do, which is a considerable setback since the engine was running very well in dry conditions. This is the disassembled top end of the engine, of the AEC engine, and here is the copper head gasket, which is simply sheet copper and in fact inadequate. The type of gasket we need is this type. This is a Leyland one from which is the only pre-war long 6 diesel engine, which as you can see at the edge is 2 copper sheets with a filler, which would have been asbestos at that time, but would of course be no longer asbestos. So we need gaskets of this type. That's for a Leyland made, and these are the cylinder heads, which have been fully overhauled, tested. And if I move it up, you can see here that the water channels are here, and they have been, that is the reset or inset for the O-rings to sit, for the 2 O-rings to give a good seal between the cylinder head with new valves, either new valves, and the block which you saw earlier. The rest are the injector pipes and all the other ancillaries of the top end of the AEC engine. So just quite a bit more time and potentially quite a bit more money involved.